Close your eyes for a second. It's late in the fourth quarter, the scoreboard is sour, and a chance to flip the game slips through the offense's hands. The camera finds George Pickens on the Cowboys sideline. He's furious, slamming his helmet to the turf, chest heaving, teammates reaching to calm him. It's the kind of image that doesn't need a caption. It writes one on its own. Frustration, regret, and a story that will follow him into the week. Let's be clear, the moment was ugly because of the context. Pickens had just dropped a pass on a critical drive that bounced into a Bears linebacker's arms and killed Dallas's final realistic comeback attempt. That sequence transformed a single misplayed ball into a high-leverage narrative. It's the difference between player makes mistake and player's mistake ends comeback. On the surface, the reaction is understandable. Football is an emotional sport, and elite competitors are hardwired to hate mistakes. But once that reaction is televised and loops on social feeds, it becomes a public lesson in optics and accountability. There are three overlapping storylines here we should parse. Pickens the player, Pickens the personality, and Pickens the contract locker room variable for the Cowboys. Start with the football. On the field, Pickens is not some fantasy stat void. He made a spectacular one-handed touchdown earlier in the game and finished with 5 catches for 68 yards and a score, while operating as Dallas's primary target after CeeDee Lamb exited with an ankle issue. That's production. That's utility. The Cowboys traded for him because of his contested catchability, his vertical threat, and his ability to flip a play into a highlight or a momentum swing. Those traits matter desperately for a team that will likely have to operate without Lamb at full speed in Week 4. But talent and temperament are partners in this league. The Pittsburgh era left Pickens with a reputation for emotional volatility, flashes of brilliance paired with sideline meltdowns and occasional lapses in discipline. The Steelers' decision not to hand him a long-term extension speaks to that calculus. Elite upside tempered by behavioral friction. For Dallas, the gamble is straightforward. Can they extract the production while smoothing the personality? So far, the answer is mixed. The hands catch the highlight reel. The helmet smash catches the headline. What makes the optics worse is the environment. The Cowboys are a no-drama franchise in public posture, with a spotlight and expectations that magnify every misstep. Fans and media hold stars to a different standard because the franchise has historically demanded both production and composure. Pickens' sideline outburst plays poorly in that context. It turns a correctable frustration into a cultural marker that opponents, media, and even prospective contract negotiators will reference. So what should Pickens do next? The path forward is simple in principle and hard in practice. First, own it publicly and privately. A concise, sincere acknowledgement, take the blame, outline the fix, and move on. Calms a lot of noise. Teammates and coaches forgive mistakes when they see accountability and effort. Second, channel emotion into routine. Convert that intensity into extra film study, crisp route running, and situational discipline. Third, let consistency dilute the image. One spike in emotion can be neutralized by weeks of steady focus and production. That's the currency that buys time and trust. For the Cowboys, the moment is a management test. Coaches must protect the rookie investment while enforcing standards. That means addressing the behavior without hobbling the player's confidence. Messaging is crucial. The public line should be corrective but supportive. The private work should be targeted. Practice reps that emphasize catch mechanics in contested scenarios, mental skills coaching, and a clear set of expectations about sideline conduct. If Dallas handles it well, they keep the talent while minimizing the narrative cost. If they mishandle it, the story metastasizes into a locker room issue and a negotiating albatross. There's a second, financial layer to consider. If Pickens keeps producing, the extension talk returns quickly. But temperament is a contract variable. Teams pay for reliability as much as for talent. The more volatility there is, the more a team will discount long-term guarantees or hedge with performance incentives. From Pickens' perspective, temper control is not just about reputation, it's about payday. Media reaction will chew this up, of course. In today's attention economy, a helmet slam gif runs faster than the truth. Analysts will cite the moment as evidence of character problems. Fans will either double down on love or hate takes. The antidote to that is steady output. If Pickens answers with quiet performance, crisp routes, clean hands, and no repeated sideline theatrics, the cycle will turn. If he repeats the pattern, it becomes fodder for weekly pile-ons. And then there's the football timeline. The Cowboys head into a Week 4 showdown with the Packers and Micah Parsons waiting. CeeDee Lamb's injury status is still a headline. Pickens must be ready to shoulder more snaps and targets if Lamb is limited. That reality makes this more urgent. Dallas needs him to be available emotionally and technically. A hero's night or a meltdown night can swing a division game. Coach game planning will likely emphasize structure, easier early reads for the quarterback, schematic touches designed to put Pickens in one-on-one opportunities where his athleticism wins without requiring improvisational heroics. Finally, let's put a human frame around all this. Athletes are humans under microscope. They react, they get angry, they feel the weight of millions watching. The pressure to perform and to be always composed is enormous. That reality doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it does explain it. What separates pros is the ability to turn that emotion into improvement rather than spectacle. Bottom line, George Pickens' sideline meltdown was a teachable moment. It revealed an existing narrative and amplified it. The consequences will depend on what comes next. A quick, professional course correction and steady play will turn the moment into a footnote. A repeat of public implosion will make it a defining early chapter in his Cowboys tenure. For Dallas, patience plus structure is the smartest short-term play. For Pickens, humility and consistency are the surest paths to turning talent into legacy. You saw it live. George Pickens, in a Cowboys uniform for the first time in a meaningful way, lost his temper on the sideline, and a whole narrative shifted in a heartbeat. He came to Dallas with hype and questions, dynamic contested catchability, big play upside, and a reputation in Pittsburgh for emotional outbursts that some said undermined his standing. Sunday at Soldier Field gave a perfect microcosm of all that. Pickens made a one-handed touchdown catch in the first half, a reminder of why the Cowboys traded for him. But the story that replayed across social feeds wasn't that grab. It was the fourth quarter moment when a perfect pass from Dak Prescott popped off Pickens' hands and right into the arms of Bears linebacker Tremaine Edmonds. That turnover swung momentum. Cameras then caught Pickens slamming his helmet onto the turf on the sidelines, visibly furious as teammates tried to cool him down. Why this matters? First, context. CeeDee Lamb left the game early with an ankle issue, and Pickens was thrust into the number one role. The expectation was simple: step up, steady the offense, be the reliable target when the game tightens. Instead, the drop pass and the emotional reaction created a double problem: lost points and a distraction in a game the Cowboys badly needed to win. Second, optics and locker room chemistry aren't trivial. Talent can buy patience once, sometimes twice. After that, teams start asking whether the emotional volatility erodes trust. Coaches want competitors who are fiery in practice but composed under pressure. Repeated theatrics in public settings, helmet slamming, sideline meltdowns make it harder for front offices to extend long-term guarantees and for coaches to keep a consistent message to younger players. Third, football consequences are immediate. That turnover ended Dallas' last real shot at a comeback. The Cowboys couldn't score in the second half despite getting deep into Bears territory late. In tight games, mental errors and penalties are what flip the scoreboard. This was one of those errors, and Pickens' reaction magnified its weight. So what now? For Pickens, the path forward is simple but not easy. Channel intensity into production, apologize if needed, and earn trust through quiet consistency. For the Cowboys, this is a test of leadership. Transparent accountability, clear role definition, and a closed-door reset could turn this flashpoint into a footnote. Or, if mishandled, it becomes a pattern that undermines cohesion. Bottom line, Pickens has elite tools and a real chance to be a difference maker in Dallas, but talent won't erase temperament. The next few weeks will tell us if this was a momentary misstep or the first chapter of a recurring theme. Fans will be watching not just how many catches he gets, but how he handles the next crucial drop. Like, if you think Pickens can flip the script, comment your take and subscribe for every Cowboys update.